Tim, welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Jaeger-LeCoultre Grand Reverso Tourbillon Skeleton. This is one of only 3 made, and for once I'm not here to sell you something because this isn't mine, it isn't ours, and it's not for sale. By the grace of a client who decided to loan it to me for a video showcase, I'm able to share it with you, and that's exactly what I plan to do. Now this watch was originally released in 2014, a series of only 3. It's part of Jaeger-LeCoultre's Extreme Métier d'Art Ibris Artistica line. Now, the Artistica line includes phenomenal complications in many cases, but that is not the focus of the line. The Ibris Mechanica focuses on extraordinary mechanisms. The Artistica on exceptional acts of craftsmanship, generally by specialized artisans within individual disciplines within high horology. But first, let's talk about the basics. One of 3 made, this watch is quite literally the golden ratio. Often associated with the Reverso case shape and its height to width proportions, rarely have they been adhered to as strictly as they are on this Grand Reverso Skeleton Tourbillon. Now consider this, the watch measures 48.4 millimeters from lug to lug, and across the broad of the case, not including the crown, 29.9 millimeters, which effectively presented as a fraction and computed works out to 1.618, exactly the ratio of a golden rectangle. The watch is also wonderfully slim. You'll note on my wrist only 10.5 millimeters thick. It's beautifully rounded at the edge, so refined as ever, it can be used as a dress watch underneath a tight cuff. Now it's broad across the wrist, but you'll note my wrist 16 centimeters in circumference, more oval than round, wears it fairly easily, and it is white gold, so it has impressive weight to it, but it's not overbearing. Now the watch comes with a corresponding white gold Jaeger-LeCoultre polished pin buckle, exquisite in every sense, simple, minimalist. It allows for easy on-the-fly adjustment, which is often necessary on the Reverso, which has a little bit of an idiosyncratic method of fitting itself to your wrist. Oftentimes you will adjust it in or out in the course of a day's activity, hot or cold weather. So a clever and useful refinement. But this watch is all about the case, and more specifically, it's all about the movement. The watch, quite frankly, is almost indistinguishable from its movement. In this case, a fully skeletonized caliber 863, it's known as the caliber 863 SQ. It's manually wound, it has a 21,600 vibration per hour beat rate, an open barrel which acts as a sort of surrogate power reserve, and this caliber 863 SQ is both hand engraved in excruciating detail and hand skeletonized. Pivoting on 23 jewels, it's absolutely gorgeous, with the focal point being the titanium tourbillon cage itself, fully finished with black polished tourbillon bridge, all heat blued oxidized cobalt screws. You'll also note almost everything about this movement has been self-consciously stylized, right down to the gorgeous Breguet overcoil hairspring, which, while it isn't specifically a work of art in the aesthetic sense, nevertheless manages to pull off the feet. The watch features a rayon pattern or a sunburst inside the case that's come into the mainstream of Jaeger-LeCoultre design since 2014. This year it joins in the Reverso tribute models. This being the 85th anniversary of the Reverso, you can see where the design came from with the Ibris Artistica paving the way. You'll also note that the movement is intoxicating, mesmerizing. You don't care which side tells time. Now, I should mention, it's this one, and you can see the broadsword style hands at center in cobalt blue, but the watch is all about the movement. It's all about loving the artistic elements of engraving and skeletonization in tandem with the half science, half art of poising and balancing a tourbillon movement. This watch is exquisite in every sense. It wears impressively on the wrist, but not overbearingly. In light of its size, the watch is perfectly suited for wrists, I would say as small as 14 centimeters in circumference, but given the sheer visual punch of a skeletonized tourbillon movement fully engraved, I don't think there's a wrist big enough to upstage this watch. This is an extraordinary timepiece, and again, not explicitly for sale, it's just something I wanted to share for the sheer sake of enjoyment. And while I don't often attempt macros with this camera, in this case, I'll make an exception. Note the JL logo engraved into the open barrel. The spokes of the barrel are actually the company marquee. Note the continuous polish, black on the tourbillon bridge. Note the bead of the escapement sitting side saddle on the tourbillon structure. And on the dial side, notice how exquisitely you can enjoy the escapement even through the framework of the skeletonized movement.